Today we're making creamy sun-dried tomato chicken. It's rich, glossy, full of flavor, and all comes together in the one pan. I'm also gonna run you through the whys and the hows every step of the way to show you exactly how you can make this type of food in your own kitchen.
Now we're going to start with the prep. Getting everything ready beforehand just makes things a lot easier when we go to cook, and if you can't consume alcohol, you can use stock as a replacement. Dice one small brown or yellow onion and aim for even pieces, about 1/2 centimeter. Even cuts cook at the same rate, so you don't end up with some burnt bits and others raw. Mince or grate 4 cloves of garlic. The finer the cut, the more cells you rupture, and that releases the enzymes that produces garlic's strong flavor. Roughly chop 1/3 of a cup or 80 grams of sun-dried tomatoes. Keeping them chunky gives bursts of flavor in the sauce instead of disappearing completely, and we can drain these from the oil, but don't discard the oil because we are going to use that in this recipe. Pick 1 cup, about 15 grams of fresh basil leaves off their stems. Basil bruises and blackens easily, especially if you're using a blunt knife, so picking it now just saves us rushing around later. Grate 1/4 of a cup, about 25 grams of fresh Parmesan cheese. Pre-grating just means that it melts instantly into the sauce, preventing clumps, as the store-bought pre-grated stuff can have an anti-caking agent on it, which can ruin our sauce. For this recipe I'm using chicken thighs, and I actually bought them bone in and skin off because they're cheaper than boneless, usually a few dollars less per kilo, and it only takes a minute to debone them yourself. Place the thigh skin side down so that the bone is visible. You'll see the bone running straight through the center with a little knuckle joint at one end. Use the tip of a sharp knife to trace along each side of that bone, keeping the blade as close to the bone as possible so you don't lose too much meat. And then once that bone is freed along its length, slide the knife underneath and carefully lift it out, trimming away any bits of cartilage. And take your time here. A clean cut now means more even cooking later. For the cooking part of this recipe, we're going to need a large high-rimmed pan. Heat 1 tablespoon or 20 milliliters of sun-dried tomato oil over a medium-high heat. This oil is packed with flavor from garlic, herbs, and tomatoes, so definitely don't waste it. Lay the chicken in carefully and let it sear for about 4 to 5 minutes on each side. We can also season it with salt and cracked black pepper. Don't move it around, the meat needs time for that Maillard reaction to take place. You'll know when it's ready to flip when it releases easy from the pan and has developed that deep golden crust. Flip and cook the second side for another 4 to 5 minutes, then remove and place it onto a plate. At this point, the chicken isn't fully cooked through. We'll finish it in the sauce so that it stays moist and picks up flavor. Lower the heat to medium and add in the diced onion. We want to cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes, stirring occasionally until it softens and turns slightly golden. You can also add in a pinch of salt and cracked black pepper. The slow sweating process breaks down the complex sugars into simpler, sweeter ones, getting that really nice onion flavor. Now add the garlic and cook this for about 30 to 45 seconds. Garlic contains sulfur compounds that are extremely volatile. They create a powerful aroma quickly, but they do burn easily, so short cooking gives us maximum fragrance without that bitterness. Now pour in 1/2 cup or 125 milliliters of dry white wine or stock if you can't consume alcohol. This instantly lifts the fond, which is that brown layer stuck to the bottom of the pan. Scrape it with a spoon or a spatula as the wine bubbles, and this is going to lift all of that flavor off. Simmer it for about 2 to 3 minutes until the liquid reduces by half. This step concentrates the acidity and balances the richness of the cream and cheese, which we're going to be adding in a minute. Add in 1/2 cup or 125 milliliters of chicken or vegetable stock. If you've used it before, it doesn't matter, you can add more in. Stir in the chopped sun-dried tomatoes and 1 tablespoon or 20 grams of Dijon mustard. Stock gives us that savory backbone, the tomatoes bring tang and umami, and the mustard helps the sauce emulsify so fat and liquid don't separate. All we need to do is mix this around and cook it for about 2 minutes for those flavors to become friends. Pour in 150 milliliters, about 2/3 of a cup of thickened cream. This has a fat percentage of 35%. It's also known as whipping cream usually, and we want to bring this to a gentle simmer, not a boil, so that the fat stays stable. Mix this around to achieve that really nice golden orange color, and then we can return the seared chicken thighs to the pan, nestling them into the sauce, and spoon over that sauce on top just so it starts soaking into the meat. Lower the heat and simmer this gently for about 8 to 10 minutes or until the internal temperature of that chicken reaches 74 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and slow finishing like this means that chicken stays tender instead of seizing up. Once that's all done, we can stir in about 1/4 of a cup or 25 grams of that Parmesan cheese. You can save a little bit for garnish, or you can just grate on more at the end, that's up to you. And I'm also going to add in a majority of those basil leaves, again saving some for garnish, or just add it all in, that choice is completely yours. And then all we need to do is mix this around and allow that basil to wilt. We don't want to cook this for too long because basil does go dark very, very quickly, and we just want to get that nice light fragrance into the sauce. Once that's all done, give it a really good mix through to make sure the flavors are thoroughly mixed, check it for seasoning and adjust if necessary, and then we can remove from the stovetop. Spoon the chicken and sauce onto warm plates. This recipe will serve anywhere between 2 to 3 people. Make sure you top off the chicken with all of the leftover sauce in the pan and getting all of those sun-dried tomatoes and the basil leaves in there too. Make sure you garnish it with the leftover Parmesan cheese, or if you added it in, just add a little bit extra, and finish it off with some fresh basil leaves and a little bit of cracked black pepper, leaving us with this beautiful looking dish which smells absolutely incredible.
So with everything said and done, we can then dig in. I honestly don't know why I stopped making these types of recipes because they are absolutely incredible, and there's so many different things you can serve it with as well. A little bit of bread to just mop up that sauce, rice, pasta, or even just a side salad. Also, please do drop a like on the video, leave a comment, let me know what you want to see next, and subscribe along with hitting that bell notification. Thanks for watching.